Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. We're at Austin, Texas for the NAWCQ, and I'm bringing you a deck profile of the deck I was about to play, and then I didn't because it's not the best deck, so I'm not playing it. But it's the second best deck, I think, right now. And I think I would have played it if I did not go too close games with the best deck. So that deck's Tenpai, actually, not Ubel. I actually think this deck's really strong, and the non-engine's crazy because the math in the deck building is ridiculous. And I put in way more time into Tenpai than I like to admit with Nick and Vince, cameraman, and person sitting on the bed over there. Yeah, a lot of time and effort were put into this, as they know, and helped with, of course. But yeah, let's just go ahead. I'll show you some of the ratios and explain them as we go. So the only 3 of monster we played was Chandra, was because he is the only 1-card starter and extender. So he kind of is like in regard to something like Diabell Star in a way, where it's a 1-card starter and extender. It's the only Tenpai that's kind of like that, which is, obviously really strong. And then 2 copies of Hydra. With the introduction of the new cards, you have too many normal summons when you're doing your deck building, and it makes no sense to play more than 2 of this, because you need to play at least 1 copy of the others for diversity, and like that's mainly diversity, honestly. So it's like 1 Dora Draco, 1 Fadra, and then 1 Genroku. If you play like any more than this ratio, your normal summons get really, really wacky, and you start drawing 2 of them like an unhealthy amount for like a 12-round tournament, and you just don't want that to happen. Like, you can handle if you draw like any one of these, it's fine. You can usually like finagle your hand in ways to make it work, but you can't. Having like just straight up dead cards in this format, we are playing a deck that is straight up weaker than Snake Eye, just sucks. So you really want everything live as possible, and this was the ratio I found to do that. Dora Draco is only strong because it lets you get to another monster, aka Chandra, usually, or Genroku, without having to go through a spell. So it's kind of like Hydra in that regard, but you do it in a different route. Again, it's like more options, which ended up being really important while going through this. For hand traps, there is so many. Really strong ones too, but the normal ones is 3 Valor, as I drop 1, 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Nib. These are the normal 9 hand traps that I feel like most people are going to be playing this weekend, if they're not playing board breakers. And then for this deck, because you are blinding second all the time, we are playing like super powerful going second hand traps that were specifically meant for Snake Eye. So that ends up being Mulch Munchy Porulia, very strong card. 3 Dimension Shifter, 3 of Phantasmes. So these were like super hard going second, see more engine, fix your hand, skip a Snake Eye turn, get more advantage to either stop their turn or get more engine. Like, these cards were amazing, like in testing. Like, I loved all of this was broken. That's not even all the hand traps, I still have more. This was just like, these 9 specifically, I think were like so for Snake Eye, and they worked really, really well in testing at least. And then for Fiendsmith cards, because those are also at this event, we have to consider those. I also was playing a heavy Bestial lineup of 2 Baldrake, 1 Druisworm, and Magnamut. As everyone knows, Magnamut with Tenpai is really good, being able to search Genroku, trigger it, and face quick effect, use it to get another monster like a Hydra or something, and get a search on your opponent's turn is really strong, as well as being a Bestial itself to stop stuff like Fiendsmiths. Druisworm is just like obviously the second best one. The reason Baldrake was at 2 in my last list before I switched was because you were able to, 1, pairing Baldrake with like any of these is really strong, but also like pairing Baldrake with Phantasme going second was like a really good high roll, making them like, they were already impactful, and you're just kind of like doubling the impact of a Baldrake. Whereas Druisworm is usually just getting like put back with a Flameberg's Dragon or banished with an SP Little Knight. It ends up being not that great. So Baldrake was ended up being way stronger. Same thing with Nibiru, like Baldrake plus Nib. There's just like combinations of cards that just work really, really well with high roll. Yeah, that's all the hand trap. That's like, it was like over 20 hand traps. It was insane. And you were always opening up like, I think like the math behind it was like, I think like 85% open up like more than 2 hand traps, at least. It was ridiculous. And then at least like 1 to 2 starters. Speaking of other engine cards, 3 Sangon Summoning and Terraforming. I mean, this is like very standard. 3 Sangon Kaiman, and then 3 copies of Prosperity. This is just very normal Tenpai stuff. There's not really much to explain here. All these cards are ridiculous. And then for the X deck real quick, I'm not even going to show side deck because the event hasn't happened yet. I don't want to spoil myself for what I'm playing. Striker Dragon, SP Little Knight. This is like normal Herodic Seal. Yeah, not really much to explain. I think that's like all pretty normal. I was using the Promethean Princess package with Zelantis just to, this is like your debarrier line. Like you get debarrier for synchros, you just go into these and you just cook them that way. It still works, it's fine. It's not like too special. Everyone kind of knows about it. Like it's not like the Tenpai extra deck is really anything too insane. For the 7, Samurai Destroyer, Black Rose, Odd Eyes, 2 of the other one because I'm kind of scared of what's it called? Like extra deck rip cards, things like Nightmare Unicorn, I think will possibly be popular. Just something that we figured out while testing that cards like that are pretty strong. So Binding Dragon just like being the most important one, I wanted 2 copies of it. Another card I was playing was Moonrose Dragon. That is also definitely a possibility, and that was in the slot of one of these. It wasn't Moonrose Dragon, but you can switch it. It's up to you. Like whatever you think comes up more. I like Moonrose because it helps with what's it called? Yubel. Yubel is a huge problem for this deck, and you really need as many answers as you can. So things like Odd Eyes, Samurai Destroyer, and Moonrose are all really strong against it to help out the Yubel monsters because they're like so hard to beat. But yeah, that is a Tenpai deck that I was going to play, and I'm now not playing. But there was a lot of time put into it, and so I feel like it was worth showing. So obviously, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you to Nick and Vince for helping with this deck, of course, even though I'm not playing it. And none of us are playing it, funny enough, but there was real time put into this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.